created over 4.5 billion years ago. After its creation and as science grew rapidly, one question divided humanity into two sides. One side believes and the other denies. Do you know what that question is? Why does this question exist? It's simple yet profound. Is there really a God? Who created us and why? Science tells us there's no God. But if there's no God, then who created us? Why are we here? What is our purpose? Many famous people, even popular scientists, claim no one created the universe and no one directs our fate.
The simplest explanation is, there is no God. No one created the universe, and no one directs our fate.
But in this video, I will prove there is a God. A God who sees us, who created us with a purpose. I know many of you watching this believe in God, following different religions. I'm not here to talk about religion. Yes, there are many religions and gods people believe in. But today, I want to speak to those who deny God's existence, the atheists.
There is no God. God is the greatest lie invented by man.
Is everything. From the tiniest particles, to the largest galaxies, to the very existence of space, time, and life. But how did it all begin?
I've made a video before asking, does God exist? But I wasn't clear enough. I explained it through religion. But here's the problem. Why would someone who doesn't believe in religion accept religious explanations? This time, I will explain why the creation of the world and everything in it is impossible without God. Not with religious knowledge, but through science and logic. Because the same science that claims there's no God, I will use that very science to prove there is one. Understanding atheism. First, let's understand atheists. Why don't they follow any religion? Why do they believe what they believe? Imagine a world filled with questions about existence, purpose, and the universe. In this world, some people, atheists, choose a path guided by reason, evidence, and personal experience instead of faith. They find traditional religious explanations lacking in proof. For them, the natural world, explained through science, offers enough answers. But atheism isn't new. Its roots go back to ancient civilizations. In 5th century BCE Greece, thinkers questioned the divine. The term atheos first meant godless or impious, but over time it came to describe those who consciously rejected belief in gods. Throughout history, atheism existed quietly under the shadow of dominant religions. But there were always individuals who questioned the divine, seeking answers grounded in observable reality. Modern atheism stands on this foundation, relying on scientific inquiry and critical thinking. In simple terms, atheists often reject religion because they rely on logic, science, and personal experiences instead of faith in the unseen. They question religious teachings, demanding evidence and reasoning to explain life, the universe, and existence. But here's something to think about. Atheism is growing faster than ever. Countries like China, Sweden, Japan, the Netherlands, and others have large populations of non-believers. China, the country with the largest atheist population in the world. Around 90% of Chinese people identify as non-religious or atheist, influenced by secularism and government policies promoting atheism since the mid-20th century. Czech Republic, one of the most non-religious countries in Europe, with around 65 to 70% of the population identifying as atheist or agnostic. Sweden, known for its secular society, around 60 to 65% of Swedes consider themselves non-religious or atheist. Estonia, approximately 60% of Estonians are non-religious, making it one of the least religious countries in the world. Japan, around 50 to 60% of Japanese people do not identify with any religion, although many practice cultural rituals related to Shintoism and Buddhism without religious belief. Norway and Denmark, both countries have a high percentage of atheists, with 50 to 60% of people identifying as non-religious. Netherlands, about 50% of the population identifies as atheist, agnostic, or unaffiliated with any religion. These countries often have strong secular values, a focus on science and education, and cultural shifts that separate religious beliefs from everyday life. Why? Because of cultural shifts, secular values, and a strong focus on science and education. But even science struggles to answer the ultimate question: why does anything exist at all? Why is there something instead of nothing? After the Big Bang, the universe was born, an explosion of unimaginable energy around 13.8 billion years ago. Space, time, and matter began to exist. But here's the real question: why did this happen? What triggered the Big Bang? Science explains how it happened: a singularity expanding rapidly, creating galaxies, stars, planets, and eventually us. But science struggles to explain why it happened in the first place. Some scientists say the universe doesn't need a why. They claim it's a random accident. But does that make sense? Think about your daily life. A glass falls because gravity pulls it. A tree grows because of sunlight, water, and soil. Everything has a cause. So how can the entire universe come from nothing without any cause? The universe operates under precise, fine-tuned laws: gravity, electromagnetism, nuclear forces. If these forces were even slightly different, stars wouldn't form, planets wouldn't exist, and life would be impossible. The odds of these constants aligning perfectly by chance? Astronomically low. It's like throwing a dart across the universe and hitting a tiny target on the other side. Stephen Hawking once claimed, "The universe can and will create itself from nothing." But let me ask you, have you ever seen nothing create something? Nothing can't give birth to life, beauty, or purpose. Nothing cannot create anything. Maybe you're asking, then who created God? It's not a wrong question. As humans, we're curious by nature. But let me ask you something in return. Can you draw a square circle? What's your answer? You'll say, I can draw a square or a circle, but I can't draw a square circle. Why? Because the question itself is flawed. A square circle can't exist. The idea doesn't make sense. In the same way, asking who created God is a flawed question. If someone created God, then that being would be the real God. And if that God was created by someone else, we'd keep asking who created that God. And it would go on forever, an endless loop, an infinite chain. It doesn't make sense. It's illogical. God, by definition, is uncreated, eternal, beyond time and space. That's what makes him God. Science isn't always right. Science is based on theories. And let's be honest, science has been wrong many times. People once believed the Earth was flat. We thought the Earth was the center of the universe. Wrong. I've already made videos explaining the flaws in human evolution theories and other scientific mistakes corrected over time. So if science has been wrong before, isn't it possible it's wrong again? Especially about something as profound as the existence of God? The afterlife? What if you're wrong? Atheists believe that after death there's nothing, just darkness. But every religion, every belief system across history speaks of an afterlife, of accountability beyond this life. Now think carefully. If you believe in God and you're wrong, no problem. You lived with purpose, with faith. But if you deny God and you're wrong, what happens then? What will happen when you face the truth, and it's too late to change? Imagine walking through a dense forest. You stumble upon a beautifully crafted watch lying on the ground. Would you believe it just appeared out of nowhere, assembled by wind and rain over millions of years? No, you'd know. Someone made it. Now think bigger. The universe is far more complex than any watch. The stars, the planets, the perfect balance of life on Earth, all of it. Designed. Stephen Hawking searched the stars for answers but missed the simple truth shining right in front of him. Science reveals the how, but faith answers the why. The universe isn't an accident, it's a masterpiece, and every masterpiece has an artist. So now it's your choice to believe. I've said everything I know. Don't wait until it's too late to find out the truth. Famous scientists who believed in God. 1. Albert Einstein. Though not religious in the traditional sense, he believed in a higher power. He said, "The more I study science, the more I believe in God." 2. Isaac Newton. A devout believer who wrote extensively about God. He said, "Gravity explains the motions of the planets, but it cannot explain who set the planets in motion." 3. Galileo Galilei. Known as the father of modern science, he believed that science and faith go hand in hand, saying, "I do not feel obliged to believe that the same God who has endowed us with sense, reason, and intellect has intended us to forgo their use." 4. Francis Collins. the scientist who led the Human Genome Project, once an atheist, became a strong believer in God after studying the complexity of DNA. 5. Max Planck, the father of quantum theory, who said, "There can never be any real opposition between religion and science, for one is the complement of the other." 6. Blaise Pascal, a mathematician and physicist, famous for Pascal's wager arguing it's logical to believe in God because the potential loss in disbelief is far greater. 7. Johannes Kepler, the astronomer who discovered the laws of planetary motion, said, "I am merely thinking God's thoughts after him." Addressing Stephen Hawking's views, Stephen Hawking claimed because there is a law such as gravity, the universe can and will create itself from nothing. But here's the problem with that statement. 1. The law of gravity is not nothing. If gravity exists, then something already exists. Gravity is a force within the universe. It doesn't exist outside the universe to create it. 2. Nothing can't create anything. Logically, nothing means the absence of everything. No space, no time, no matter, no laws. So how can nothing create something? 3. The fine-tuning problem. The universe's physical constants are perfectly balanced for life. 4. The cause of the Big Bang. Hawking believed in the Big Bang, but he never explained what caused it. Stephen Hawking searched the stars for answers, but missed the simple truth shining right in front of him. Science reveals the how, but faith answers the why. The universe isn't an accident, it's a masterpiece. And every masterpiece has an artist. So now it's your choice to believe. I said everything I know. If you have any logic to provide, then please comment. This is Playerverse 1 signing off. May Allah guide us, protect us, and help us to rebuild a better tomorrow.